it's not about succeeding or being good at something. It's about trying things to see what you like and what you enjoy. It's about making the most of your opportunities. And it's about, I suppose, just enriching your life by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone sometimes and just doing different things and seeing how they make you feel.
What if you had the opportunity to have a coffee with your 18-year-old self? What advice would you offer? And would you actually take the advice on offer? I'm absolutely fascinated by that question. I interview people from all walks of life, from Heineken Cup winners, New York Times bestselling authors, polar explorers, you name them, I've interviewed them. Be inspired, learn and grow from the experience of others. Welcome to the What I Know Now podcast with Mark Kelly. My guest today is Dr. Ciara Kelly. Dr. Ciara is a GP award-winning columnist, and you'll know Ciara best from her show Alive and Kicking, and she's a GP on Operation Transformation. Welcome to the show, Ciara.
Thanks very much, Mark.
This is super. Ciara, I'm really interested in your journey to now. Could you tell me a little bit about how you became a GP and then also making the transition to being in the media world?
It's the story of my whole life. I suppose I had done medicine, and when I was doing medicine, you do have to sort of consider what you might do afterwards. Do you want to be a consultant? Do you want to be a GP? It's a very broad church, actually, what you can do if you have a medical degree. And I liked very much general practice, I suppose, because a few things. One is there's no real hierarchy to general practice. It's quite egalitarian. There's no real sense of, it's not like an institution. You work in communities. You don't wear a white coat. Your patients call you by your first name and all that. And I quite liked that. I liked the idea of being embedded in a community with patients who were not quite peers, because that's not the relationship, but that there was that you didn't have that ivory tower thing going on that sometimes you could have working in a hospital. So I really wanted to be a GP, and it was the right move for me. Certainly it suits me, I think, to be a GP, and I'm still very happy as a GP, and I still work in Greystones. I fell into the media by accident, to tell you the truth. I had one of my daughter's friends' mums, if you can follow that, worked as a journalist in the Sunday Independent, and between the jigs and the reels I was asked, because they were looking for a doctor, to write a piece about something, and I wrote a piece in the Sunday Independent without really realising when I did that putting my toe in that water would, to be honest, change my life, because I wrote the column and I had to kind of force myself to write it, because I was very daunted when I was asked to write it. I was very challenged by the idea that somebody would be interested in my opinion on something that I had never really given my opinion on anything before. So it was daunting to do it, but I did it anyway, which maybe says something too. But from there, from that tiny acorn, that one article grew a career, I suppose, because then that article actually became a little bit controversial and got a lot of attention. And then I was asked to write other articles, and then I was asked to go on the radio, and then I was asked to do regular things, and then I suppose I was asked to do a bit of television. And it literally, without me knowing that one small step, that one putting my toe in the water that day, that time, was going to lead me on the journey that I've gone on ever since. And it I suppose, it changed my life.
When I listen to you, or I've seen you on Operation Transformation, you're very quick to share your opinion, and you don't hold back, right? Now, you talk about in your Independent article about the importance of your advice to your younger self of having an opinion, sharing it. It actually, you're worth it to share that. Was that something that you developed?
I think I was probably quite like this when I was in my teens. I do remember sitting in class, and I was always kind of, throwing in my spake, and I would have done a bit of debating, and I would have been quite, one of those quite vocal teenagers who, like most teenagers, think that they know everything. But I think I that seemed to change in my 20s and 30s. I think I became subsumed into, marriage and motherhood and all of those sorts of things that we do that are very rewarding and nourishing in our lives. But it isn't all about you. For that period of your life, it isn't all about you. Maybe particularly for women. I think a lot of what you're doing then is about other people, and about, and within the family and all that kind of stuff. And then you come into your 40s. And I think that's a new era again, because your children are growing or grown. You're more mature. You're maybe a little bit more confident yourself. And I think I very much had a sense that if you were ever going to do anything, with your life at all, we'll do it now, because you can't long finger it anymore, really.
Did you have an aha moment? Was there a certain time?
No,
No?
I don't think I did. I think things crept up on me, but I do think that certainly starting into the media changed both the direction of my life, but maybe changed me a little bit as well. I would no longer be hesitant to say that my opinion is as valid as anybody else's. And there was a time when I would have felt, oh no, I couldn't say that because I don't know as much as other people, or what I feel doesn't matter, or what have you. Whereas now I see it a little bit differently. I think that nobody's voice is more important than anybody else's, and that, everybody is entitled to be sort of true to themselves and to have an opinion, I guess.
Growing up, was there any important mentor, or is any particular advice that made you stop cold and go, that's pretty good advice?
No, not really. I'd love to have some inspirational thing for you there, Mark, but I think, I don't know. I'm not really. I was a regular Irish teenager. I grew up I was a teenager in the 80s. I lived in a semi-D in Greystones with, a kind of a humdrum enough upbringing. And I don't think I did have any kind of eureka moments where I thought my life is going to be special or wonderful, or what do I really want to do or anything. I think I kind of just plodded along like a lot of people. I went to college. I did commerce first of all, and then I did medicine. And, I became, as I say, a GP. I don't think that I did. I felt much more connected to myself though in maybe the last decade, and much more in touch with how I felt about everything sort of in now. I find this phase of my life, quite exciting, and it's a different phase.
When I was on your show on Saturday, I could see how quickly things were moving, progressing, and you'd said how hard you work in, I think 2 days out of 30 days. You got me in a bad month. This is a particularly busy month. I'm on News Talk Breakfast, and I'm working, and it's busy. The reason why I say that is, obviously, you're still giving you a lot of energy. You didn't say that like you were complaining. You were saying that as like you were pumped, saying
I have huge energy. I have absolutely massive energy. I do. And I think I buzz off it a little bit. I think for me, I hate being bored, and I'm really easily bored, and that's a problem. And I've always been like that. So I was always in trouble in school for, sitting down the back, on the back two legs of the chair, swinging your legs kind of thing. I was always, I do have a low boredom threshold. So one of the things I like is to have quite a jam-packed schedule, and I like meeting different people and kind of hearing what they have to say. And I find the most interesting things in the world to me is somebody with something interesting or challenging or new to say. And so I'm kind of working in an area where I'm constantly, like this morning on News Talk Breakfast, we had Samantha Power, former advisor to Barack Obama, on the programme. I think it's, for me, I'm a bit of an anorak, but for me, it's hugely exciting to get to have those conversations and to get to feel connected to what's going on in the world in that way. And so I kind of, I have the life that suits me.
Yeah, brilliant. If there was one piece of advice that you're going to offer to your younger self, or potentially you were offering to anybody that is at home now and wants to change their life or make a change, and maybe fears holding them back, what would it be?
Do not be as enthralled to the opinions and the views of others. I think most of us, what holds us back is what's in our own heads, and very much, particularly when you're younger, what's in your head is that you're worried about the opinion of random strangers. And I think that most young people fall victim to that. And I think, put that out of your head. Go with your gut. Be true to yourself. I know they probably are a bit cliched, but just, there are some people who give you good advice, and maybe you should listen to their opinions, but you'll know who those people are because you'll respect them and you'll value their opinion for a reason. But the random opinions of random people who are nothing to do with you, put that out of your head and go after what you actually want.
Okay, brilliant. And what's coming up the next 6 months to 12 months for you?
Oh God, loads. I'm doing lots and lots of radio. I obviously work for News Talk, and that's keeping me on my toes. I'm about to start back in the next couple of weeks into Celebrity Operation Transformation, and we should probably roll over into Operation Transformation then come January, February. I also am in talks about a couple of book deals myself about various things. that I'll watch that space. And believe it or not, and I don't know what to think about this myself, I've been asked if I might do a play, like a proper play with proper actors and proper theatre professionals, not like me, and I'm considering that on the basis that it's not something I've ever done. And I always like to think of this, that when I'm old, I want to look back on my life and think, look at all the stuff you did. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that great fun? And yes, lots of them, I'm quite sure, including the play, very possibly I'll be totally rubbish at. But that's not what it's about. I think it's not about succeeding or being good at something. It's about trying things to see what you like and what you enjoy. It's about making the most of your opportunities. And it's about, I suppose, just enriching your life by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone sometimes and just doing different things and seeing how they make you feel.
Ciara, thank you very much for your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
You've been listening to the What I Know Now podcast with Mark Kelly. To subscribe to the podcast, just enter WIKN into iTunes or any Android podcast of choice, or check out the website at www.wikn.co. I'd love to get your feedback, either positive or negative, about the episode, what action you're going to take. I look forward to seeing you next week, and remember, have an absolutely super day. Bye.